Believe in this little mama, they say love's the best when it hurts. Gotta take you with me, he's just calling, but you in my heart. 1,000 miles away, tell me, baby, you won't drift apart. Touch, little swing, let it little still.
All right, so hi y'all. Today we are here with Mr. Israel Jones, Gainesville born and raised, rapper, songwriter, artist, visionary, and we are interviewing him before his breakdown session with Avenue A that we'll be doing tonight. So we're super excited to be here today. We're gonna ask him some questions to get to know him a little bit better before the breakdown. Just learn more about his history and his journey becoming the artist that he is today.
Yeah, let's do it. Come on.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Yes, ma'am.
So you recently just moved up here from Florida.
Yes.
Correct? Yeah. So how is that transition going? Like going from Florida to up the north?
Oh, it's been great. We was talking about it a little bit off cam. Just being able to still have an environment where I could like be in the nature, be in sun, go to the park, still drive around. Like I didn't get thrown into like the chaos of New York. I got a second to like warm up to it and adjust to the city and its people. Like, I'm from Gainesville, but these days I really say I'm like from North Florida, from so many other smaller towns outside of Gainesville that like I've been in towns where there's only like 600, 500 people in them. So to be transplanted to New Jersey is like a culture shock, but it was like the complete 180 and everything I needed. So it's been cool. It's been cool. Tasting new things, hearing new things, seeing new things, trying new things. That like promotes for like a better lifestyle, doing some new shit.
Yeah. I felt the same way moving from Florida to up here. I'm like, it's really like a culture shock. Like how like so many different people and like cultures all together. Like it's like really cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Florida kind of prepares you for everything.
Yeah,
like Florida definitely prepares you for like the ups and downs and the ins and outs of life. So I didn't come up here feeling unprepared. I came up here like ready to do what I was gonna do.
That's dope.
So you said in your own words, you're authentically, unapologetically Southern, and you also mentioned how people from the South don't really realize how big their influence is.
Come on, let's talk about it.
Why do you think that's that? When there's just so many like signs of the influence around.
Because there's signs of the influence without understanding what makes the influence, right? Like anybody thinks they can hop on a trap beat and because they can rap a little bit, it's going to sound good, but that's not always the case, right? There's a certain like genius within like Southern rappers and lyricists that don't get spoken about, like the Bankroll Freshers of the world, the way he hops in and out of pockets and styles. The man was a genius, but that doesn't get talked about. We talk about 3 Stacks and he deserves every bit of like glory, but even to this day, still I listen to Return of the G. I'm like, nah, this man was a poet. This man is up there with like the Emily Dickinsons and Shakespeare's of the world, bro. And I feel like Southern MCs don't get that credit because we didn't start what is hip hop, and I'll forever be grateful for the essence and birth of hip hop. But I don't know. There's a certain genius within it that I feel like it's overlooked, and it's an easy style to copy. So you see the influence, but rarely do you see the influence in a way that I think is like ethical or really true to the source of what it means to be a Southern rapper.
Okay. And you expand on how you said like how they're doing it, how it needs to be more ethical. In what way?
I don't know. Just when you're using the art, know what you're using. Like it's easy to take the low hanging fruit of the trap sound, of the cadences of the auto tune, and like pimp it for your own gain because that's what's hot. But not understanding what really makes it fire. T-Pain understood what made auto tune like fire. Like I feel like a lot of that influence was like Roger and Zach too, that people don't talk about. That took a lot of genius to take that and make it what it was, and that doesn't get talked about. So when you're using the craft, just know that what you're using, is like gold gems that these people created. Yeah.
So we've known each other for years. Back in Florida.
What up, man?
Tallahassee. So just like throughout the years listening to your music, like I feel like your music and like your visuals kind of feels like taking a journey like back home to like, your roots. I feel like especially in this last project you dropped, like I definitely feel that.
Yeah.
Just like it feels like familiar in the way like I feel like safe, like I'm back home, like I'm making that journey back home.
Wow.
So just like I had a question of like, what is the inspiration behind, or I guess like hearing that, like do you feel like that's how you want your art to be interpreted? And also like what's the inspiration behind your art and like what films are you trying to emit?
Yeah, definitely that. I want you to see the home, see like Florida and like all this like different colors. It's an array. I feel like when you listen to some of the like classic East Coast records, when you listen to Illmatic, you're like transported into Queensbridge. Like you can see what he's talking about. When you listen to the Infamous, you listen to Mobb Deep. When you listen to like Aquemini, you can picture Georgia. Like you can hear where they at. So that's always the goal, to try to drop little snippets, whether it be the lyrics that I'm saying or even like the sounds. You know, Go With God was me trying to get the sound. I feel like that was important to do. So I wanted the album to sound like Florida, specifically like North Florida, shit that I grew up like listening and hearing. So all that is like imperative, and I'm like blessed to be able to do that. And that's always the goal, you know, to put that out there, especially in terms of like Florida lyricism, you know. And then like we got some of the best rappers here too. You know, don't sleep. You know, you got some of the best people bar for bar here, and I want to show that.
Yeah. I have a question about like just like your identity like as a Southerner or Floridian being up here. I feel like when I moved up here, I was like. I always wanted to leave Florida. Like I want to get out of Florida. I came up here. I'm like, no, I'm from Florida.
Facts.
Like, I'm a Floridian.
No, this
like,
is
do you feel like you feel the same
this is
way?
how much
like,
I turned up on it, bro. This is how much I turned. I went to a thrift shop and I was looking for like Florida apparel, and I saw a Bucks jersey and I was like, I never rooted for the Bucks a day in my life. Fuck it, let me get this shit. It's Florida. Let me get it. Like, not saying I don't fuck with the Bucks. Like I got an award done jersey. It's actually like one of my favorite players. But you know, I didn't grow up like watching them. But I wear that shit like I did because like it's Florida, and I'm like represent that to the fullest.
I honestly feel like people get more prideful of their hometown or just state in general when they leave.
When you're not in it,
yeah. Because me, like, I didn't care about my state. I'm like, man, I want to leave this place. As soon as I started going to school, I was just like,
missing it, bro. Nah, fast. What did it for me is like not having the sun up here. Like in Florida, you get the sun every day to the point where when I was leaving, people were like, you ain't afraid of the cold? I was like, man, I've been dealing with 90-degree summers my whole life. Bring on the cold. Like, I'm cool with it. And then I got up here and there was no sun. I was like, okay. Okay, now. Yeah, hold on. Y'all said it was going to be part of the deal. Like, I didn't know that.
No one told me. Like, nobody. I know it was going to be this cold, this dark.
Right. I knew it was going to be cold and dark. I'm like, okay, I can deal with that. But I didn't know there was going to be days where the sun was just not on the job. So that took like some adjusting. But I went back home a couple weeks ago, and with that appreciation, I spent every day I could in the sun before I knew I had to come back up here. Like, okay, I know I'm not gonna see it every day. Let me like appreciate it being here every day. So it just helps you appreciate things that you might take for granted. Yeah.
Well, kind of going back on like your visuals and like what inspires that. Recently, you won best music video at Soundstage video competition. Yeah. I just wanted to see like it was for your song Cage Bird, right? Yeah. So like how was that experience? What was inspiration behind Cage Bird, and like I guess how was the experience like winning that and like being up here and like kind of making your mark like automatically like from the jump?
I guess I'll start with what it was like making Cage Bird. During that time period, I was almost done with Go With God. That was like early 2025, and I was still looking for something that could really encapsulate the sound to what I was trying to do. And the original song, I love that song. I've always wanted to flip it in that way. Linked up with who did it. You know, we have like a long history of working together. And those are one of them joys where you write it the next day or write it the same day. Like it just all came to me. When I recorded it, I knew what it was. Like it was one of them songs as an artist, like, oh, you know what this one is. And it was just a way of me, you know, at the time, a lot of times I'm like speaking, you know, for the future me. Like, you know, like I might not necessarily be doing what I'm saying right now, but like I'm trying to, you know, manifesting in that sense. And Cage Bird was one of those songs where it's like, this is where I want to be. And I wrote about that. And that's how you get a song like that, you know, jumping out of your cage. Yeah. And the video, I wanted to show different forms of freedom, you know, running with the flag, you know, jumping into water, you know, they say we can't swim, you know. Define all of that, define any of like the barricades that might be put on blackness, you know, totally disputing that in every way that I can, in the most radical way that I can. That was the point. And Soundstage, I feel like is an event that like embodies that, with this representation of like authentic blackness and the stories that it's told. There was so many different stories that told that night, thematically, that was incredible. You know, we're not a monolith. Like we have ordinary lives too, and like that was shown that night, the whole full array of blackness. So it was incredible to win, but more importantly was like looking out in the crowd and seeing people who looked like me, who understood the message and why I did what I did, and I understood their messages and why they did what they did. That sense of community is important, and you know that was more important to me to win.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's a beautiful video. Beautiful videos. Y'all should definitely check it out.
Thank you. Hey, man, run that up.
Yeah, yeah. Remember when I was first watching, I'm like, I need to take a flight back home to Florida. Like, I want to go to the springs, go to the lake, like, get a nice cold beer, like, take me back.
Yeah, I also wanted to show that in the video, too.
Yeah.
You know, because in the making of Go With God, the whole theme of the album is I'm leaving Florida.
Yeah.
You know, so in my visuals, I wanted to display the South for real and stand on it, because I know what I'm going to do next is going to look completely different visually. So I wanted to stamp that. You know, this is what we look like, sound like. You know, a lot of the people in Cage Bird in the video are incredible artists themselves. You know, Lucid Lunar, Black. It's a lot of great rappers in that video as well. Artists, you know, from Miles directing the video, and I wanted to showcase all of that. You know,
you did a great job of doing it. So thank you. Thank you for the art.
Thank you.
You said how Florida rappers don't really stick to one sound like other rap cities.
Right.
Do you think that's more of a reflection of how big Florida is, how many different cities, diaspora there is within the state?
Yeah, I think 1,000%. I think a lot of times people think about Florida, they think of South Florida, but there's South Florida, Central Florida, Gainesville, Florida. And if you've really been to Florida, you could tell the difference between somebody from Orlando and Miami.
Yeah.
You could tell the difference between somebody from Miami and, like, sometimes Broward and definitely Tallahassee. You can tell the difference between Florida people, you know. So I wanted to show that on this album, kind of show what like North Florida like sounds like when I think of North Florida. But to your question, yeah, I think that is why you hear so many different pockets and styles of rappers. You know, 454 don't sound like Rick Ross. You know, who don't sound like Lil Tyler, who don't sound like Trick Daddy. You know, it's all a giant array of music and like real spitters too. You know, yeah.
What are your top Florida influences? Whether that's like music, art, whatever, and then New York or / New Jersey influence.
Like influence musically?
Yeah, musically or just artistically or.
Okay, that's a good one. I think Florida just like the aesthetic. I think sun, water, grass. In my case, like dirt road.
Yeah.
You know, all of that kind of plays in mind when I think of Florida. Like the people. You know, the people that I know, the South. My lineage, like, you know, most of my histories in Florida, specifically like North Florida. So a lot of my family ties and my inspiration comes from that as well, comes from Florida. And like definitely the sound. One thing that Florida rappers are good at is like storytelling. Like when you listen to Plows, like you're in Polk County, like, you know, like you hear what like what they saw, you know, and I try to like do that the best in my work too. Like whenever I speak, you can see, you know, Florida rappers are very good with their visual storytelling. And then from Jersey, just the idea of doing something new. That's definitely been like a crazy influence. But like, you know, as much as I talk about the South, man, I grew up on the East Coast, hip hop, Nas, Tribe, all of that. Man, I like studied that. Mobb Deep was like the Bible to me. Like I studied that, dissected it, learned it, patterned my first rhymes after. So being in like the Mecca, that feels like a second home for sure. Yeah.
I feel like one thing I felt coming up here was like I felt very like familiar. Like even though I wasn't like I have family up here, but like being up here like alone and then living here for the first time, I'm like it feels like so familiar in a way. I don't know. I feel like Florida and like New York have very like similar energies.
Yeah.
Like very chaotic, but like so much to do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So it was like interesting. Like,
no, you get used to the chaos. I think in both cities, you learn how to manage it. You know what I mean? You just like understand it, accept it for what it is. I didn't feel like a fish out of water when I came up here. I kind of just like came up here. I think that's why like it went the way that it's been going. Because, you know, I always say any place where there's people rapping, I'm gonna feel like it's home. And like one of the first things I did here, similarly to when I was in Tallahassee, is find where the art is at, where people create. And any place where creation is at, I'm gonna feel like I'm supposed to be there. Yeah.
How did it feel for you to teach a class at University of Florida?
Man, that was everything to me, you know? I don't think hip hop as a whole has ever got its just due with the educational value that's within the DNA of hip hop, you know? It's like fundamentally and on every level educational. When you think about like your favorite rappers, they got like, say for instance, they got 5 albums. On those 5 albums, they got 15 songs. 3 verses each song. How much writing did they have to do? I took like a genius to write all of those lines, you know, and then how many lines that they didn't use, and then how long have they been doing that? You know, when you think about your favorite rappers, like, oh man, he got 10 albums. How many albums do you think he doesn't have? You know, all of that took literary prowess, and I don't think that gets us credit at all. You know, which is definitely like a subsection under like the English language, and especially when you look at the way that hip hop is used in media, and we've heard the story a million times of how highly it's been appropriated. You know, it doesn't get its just due that it's like an educational everything. You know, I wish I had a better word to say that. So being able to go to UF and teach that as like a student of hip hop. My dad is a student of hip hop. Everything I learned from him. You know, he was there when hip hop was first created. Um, it was everything. Like that's something that you dream about, and then you look out and see like other, you know, titans in rap do that. It helps you feel like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. So it was another form, another light nugget and key for me to like keep going on my journey. Yeah.
Were there any like perspectives or like thoughts you heard from the students that like stuck with you or like were really interesting?
Yeah, the students, shout out that class, man. Shout out that class. They were very opinionated. They were very opinionated, but they had great opinions. You could tell they also studied. They've been studying rap, and it was like different forms. You know, it was a lot of realizing our favorite artists have let us down. That was like that was the main topic. But it was just cool to be like, oh man, you're not the only hip hop head. You're not the only person who understands the culture to some degree that understands rap. You know, and then on top of that, being able to play my own music in the class and having them ask questions about my music and kind of debate the different themes in it, and that's incredible. You know, you can't really ask anything better than that.
It must be surreal, like just I don't know, as a student yourself with like the art, being able to go and like teach that to other students. Like
it's very surreal. It probably will never sink in. You know, like I catch myself like, dang, that was definitely a moment in time.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Were you more nervous for that or your first time ever performing?
My first time ever performing.
Right.
For that, I have a lot of experience in education.
Okay.
And I mean, like, imagine somebody telling you, hey, teach a class on your favorite thing in the world.
Yeah.
Probably would be easy for you. Like, yeah,
No
you know what I'm saying? So
no
it's
pressure.
like, it was second nature. You know, I've had that lecture in my head since I was 13.
That's
You know,
amazing.
all it took was saying it to the camera. My first time performing was in a room full of like other spitters, in front of other people who could really rap, and I was young and like arrogant, saying I was the best, and I felt like, man, I've been saying this, I gotta prove it, and there wasn't a lot of people in there, but everybody who's supposed to be in there was there, and I felt like I did my thing, but the pre to that was a lot of like getting myself ready. You know, I feel like I'm walking in like the Lions Den. Not to be so serious, but it was that serious for me. You know, yeah.
I feel like situations like that will really like fuels you as a person.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what you do, if you make tables or chairs,
1000%.
you see like other people that do your craft.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, like there's levels to this. Like
levels to it.
Me like lock in now, like
exactly.
Just like the best feeling ever. Honestly.
That's the best feeling. Yeah. That's been a big part of coming to New York and being around other people who I could tell to put time in the dojo too, to put time working. I'm like, okay, let's rap then. You know, and like I said, anytime where that's there, I'm gonna be there. So I definitely put something in you as an artist. It's almost like doubling. You see somebody else doing something, like it helps you do what you're doing 10 times better. Yeah.
Project you just dropped, Go With God.
Yeah.
I want to know, like, what does Go With God mean to you? What does that look like in your life?
Oh man, Go With God. I was talking to my dad about this the other day too. I feel like Go With God is like letting him steer like the ship, you know, and you getting out the way. Let him do what he said he was gonna do for you. Trust that, and like go with that, because he ain't lied to you yet. He showed you like you're supposed to be here. You're still here. You got a purpose. You got a destiny. Trust that it's happening. Everything's happening for you, and that might be really hard to understand. I feel like Go With God is me being like, is it really all happening for me? Because this shit sucks sometimes. But it's like that balance of figuring that out, and eventually being like, yes, it is. You know, even if it's tough, you know, and let him lead the way. Yeah.
Is that like a reflection of like, sorry, not to get personal, it's kind of
yeah.
like, I guess like, well, I'm sure. I want to ask this question. Wait,
No, it's good real journalism, man.
I guess, like, what inspired that for you to like write about that topic in this stage of your life? Like, was there anything that inspired that specifically, just like to let go and like let God essentially and just like go with that, or?
Yeah, I mean, my spirit has been like a big part of like my artistry forever. And each album kind of like grows and grows as you grow, you elevate. Um, but I went back home from Tallahassee, back to Gainesville, back to my hometown, put my feet in the grass, was in the sun, had my mom was cooking, was surrounded by home with a whole bunch I needed to let go. Kind of realizing, dang, I just went through a lot, transformed, grew, definitely in a better place, but I know I'm about to make another move soon, and there's some things I need to work on before I get there, you know? Um, and that's what that is, and that like inspired that. So that's why you see in a song like Infinite Possibilities of Warfare, it's almost like I'm fighting myself. Like 3 or 4 lines would be like optimism, pessimism, optimism, pessimism, like going back and forth, trying to find like the answer, like what to do, um, and trying to figure that answer out before I left. And I think I'm still figuring out. You're ever on the journey, but go with God is like me showing what that looks like to me. Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit more about Brick Road Records? That's your label.
Yeah.
And I know I've like seen the progression a little bit from like Florida.
You was
to,
there.
Like,
You was at the first listening party, man.
I
Go ahead.
I was
Go
there.
ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, Tallahassee, Florida. So I just wanted to know, like, I wanted you to speak on that a bit more and just,
Right.
like what is that? Like, what does that mean to you? How has it grown throughout the years?
Yeah. That's like my God given army, like my brothers. We met so crazy. It was really like something out of like the best movie ever, how we met, how we all intersected with each other's lives, how many similarities we have. It's like we're all split, like when we come together, we Voltron, like you're saying. But it's like cool to have that like brotherhood, in like a positive sense. I don't know how many uh, men can relate, but I've had like a lot of toxic male friendships, so it feels good to have male friendships that are like positive, that pour into you, show up for you. And on top of that, they're the best at what they do in the world. I listen to G and I'm like, man, I gotta get better. I listen to Trent, I'm like, man, I gotta get better. Derek is a craftsman and stuff that he does. He's a genius. And it's a label that I think is gonna change the course of hip hop, you know.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, thank you.
I see it. Y'all laying them bricks.
Thank you. Lay them down.
Yeah.
Lay them down. Yeah.
We got the what's it called? The Brick Road Gold. The
Brick
drink.
Road Gold. I'm excited. Yeah.
The drink for tonight.
I'm excited, man. Yeah.
We excited.
Yeah.
And finally, before we head out, so
yeah,
do it with the same passion as you do when you were little and there wasn't a dollar sign behind it. So with that in mind, how do you like keep grounded in that mentality while dealing with like, the everyday obligations as an adult and just tell me about that. How do you stay grounded with that mind frame?
Hey, that was a good question. It's real journalism, right? From both of them, that's real journalism. Man, I think the first thing is to be like patient with yourself, to understand that like not a lot of people haven't figured out how to pour into like your creative side, the things you want to do, and like the real life obligations of paying bills and things like that. That's why you see a lot of miserable people in this world, because you really would rather be doing this, but you're stuck all day doing this. I think that causes a lot of tension within like yourself. So have patience with yourself while figuring that out. Secondly, I would say remembering exactly that, like remembering how I felt when you were little, when there was no ties behind it, or where you could pour all your time into it. It's really you can. Nobody is telling you can't. Like you just might have to just figure it out. And to me, that's a form of self-love. Figuring it out, not letting things take you away from what like you're supposed to do. And if you really sit and think, you can carve out some time a day to pour into like yourself, because nobody's gonna do it for you. So like you got to do that, no matter how hard it is. So remember that feeling that you felt and like thrive on that. And then something that like I want to be the pot calling the kettle black. I think something that everybody can be better at is like understanding what your plate is and not comparing yourself to what other people got going on in the next person's journey, because their journey is their journey and they have exactly what they're supposed to have. Even if you feel like it's greater than what you got, somebody's looking at you like, damn, I want what he got. You feel me? Mm-hmm. It's forever gonna be that way with everybody. You're gonna look at somebody and be like, oh, but somebody gonna look at you and be like, damn, no, they just shit. You know what I mean? So keep that in mind too. That what you got is for you, and it's incredible. And as you grow, it'll grow. Yeah, you keep those things in mind. I think you'll be alright.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Honestly,
I'm like, feeling good. No,
Hey,
thank you,
man.
thank you.
Thank
Of
you
course,
for that.
man.
Thank you for that.
Of course, man.
Yeah, this was our interview with Israel
Yes,
Jones.
hopefully first of many.
Yes, first of many.
Yes.
He's up. Y'all tune in to Go With God. Tune in to all the beautiful visuals that he also released with the project as well.
Yeah.
But you're about to get into the breakdown and break down
Come on.
Go With God.
Avenue for everything.
Avenue for anything.
Come
Yeah,
on.
exactly. So yeah, thank you so much. I'm very excited to see where the night leads us.